If you're going to work on something with electricity, then you need to make sure that the power is off. But how do you really know if the power is off? Look, I don't want you to get injured, or even worse, ended. Hey Gugu, how many people die from electrical shock every year?
I don't know the answer to that specific question, but according to en.wikipedia.org, electrical injuries affect more than 30,000 people a year in the United States.
You can ask the flowers. I sit for hours telling all the bluebirds.
Seriously, I don't want you to end up on that list. So I'm going to show you several ways to check and also show you how each one isn't perfect and how it might be flawed and still get you shocked. Look, I'm a licensed professional, and if you're not, don't try this. Just hire a licensed professional. Let them risk their lives instead. Let's jump into option 1. We could just turn off the breaker, right? We could just walk over to the electrical panel and just turn off the breaker for the area that we're working on, right? I mean, the breaker says breakfast room. There's no way that could be wrong, right? Actually, I've been to a lot of homes where the panel was labeled incorrectly. And do you really want to risk your health on the quality of somebody's labeling? As a matter of fact, I've been to some homes where the panel is not even labeled. But hey, there's an option too. A common option is using a pen tester. The actual name of this is a non-contact voltage tester. So basically, this doesn't have to make contact with the energized metal to detect voltage. It is designed to detect an electromagnetic field radiating from a live AC wire. But this is also a problem because sometimes it can detect phantom voltage and give a false signal, or sometimes it might not pick up the voltage if the shielding is too thick. But see, look, is this ground wire live? How? I know it's not because I haven't even connected it. So what's going on? Is it now dangerous to touch me while my hand is moving back and forth? Am I energized?
Ah! Good God! It's hideous, but beautiful in an ugly way.
Also, low AAA batteries could cause false readings. Also, how do you know you didn't drop it one too many times? Look, I've actually been in a situation where this was acting weird and giving me a signal that I didn't trust while I was in the back of an attic, sweating in 120-degree temperature and trying to balance on ceiling joists. That was a WTF moment. Are you really going to trust a $20 tester with your life? A more safer option is to use a multimeter. Let's say you're checking a 120 volt outlet. You simply turn it to AC voltage and put one lead on the hot and one on the neutral. It should read 120 volts if it's live. And yes, it's not exactly 120 even. 120 is just how we refer to it, but it should be pretty close to 120, like maybe 123, maybe 121. And as a healthy habit, I always next check the hot to ground, which should also read 120 volts. Then neutral to ground, it should read 0 volts. Look, let me show you a situation that could get you shocked or even stop your heart from pounding. Now let's say you walk up to this outlet and you check hot to ground because yeah, the grounds and the neutrals are connected in the panel anyway, so you're safe, right? No, you're about to get put in the grave. Because you didn't know it, but some idiot wired the outlet uphill incorrectly. They reversed the hot and the neutral. And now you're over here at your outlet, which is downhill, and it's reading 0 hot to ground. And you think it's off, but you're about to find out the hard way that it's still alive because electricity is colorblind. It doesn't know what color the insulation is. Hold up, it's not over yet. There's still one more scenario that things could go really wrong for you and you could still get shocked. Check this out. Okay, you pull out your multimeter to make sure you're safe and you check hot to neutral, 0 volts, and you check hot to ground, 0 volts, and just to make sure, you go neutral to ground, and yeah, 0 volts. And so everything's safe, right? Do you feel safe now? Right? Well, nope. You're about to lose the game of life. Because this outlet right here is connected to this outlet right here. And then this one is also connected to this outlet right here. And the technician on that day who installed this outlet, look, they didn't even install the ground wires. they're not making a connection. That's why you're getting 0 volts hot to ground, because it doesn't even go back to the panel. And just take a look at this neutral. Look, it's damaged. That means the tech on that day bent it one too many times and it's broken inside the insulation. So it's not making contact either, and it's not going back to the panel. So your voltmeter is reading 0 volts hot to neutral because of this break. But that black wire is still live and still can hit you. But hey, what if it's a 240 volt circuit like this electric dryer? How do we make sure it really is off with our multimeter? Well, here, do this. First, let's check line 1 to line 2, and we should get 240 volts. Then we check line 1 to neutral, which should be 120. And then line 1 to ground, which should also be 120. Then we will repeat the same process for line 2 to neutral and also line 2 to ground. And then hey, don't forget to check neutral to ground because we want it to show 0. Do you want to see a fourth option? Yeah, you do. This option also makes technicians feel safe. It's called the circuit tracer. There's 2 parts to this, the receiver and the transmitter. First, you plug it into a live circuit. Then you should see the lights come on the transmitter, which also verifies that it's wired correctly. Then you go to the panel and you start scanning the breakers. Once the receiver detects the circuit, it will start to beep loudly. And when you flip off the breaker, it should stop. Look, the plug-in transmitter turned off. Okay, but how are we going to find the circuit if we don't have an outlet to plug into? For example, we want to find the circuit that this light is on, but we don't have an outlet for our circuit tracer to plug into. So here's what we do. We take our adapter kit and we take the part that screws in like a light bulb and we replace the light bulb with it, and then we plug in our transmitter. Also, don't forget to turn the light switch on. That way it can send the signal to the receiver. And we just turn it off again at the breaker using our tracer. But what if you don't want to climb up a ladder to get to the light? Well, we can use the wires at the switch, and all we need is this part of the adapter. But be careful, this is definitely for licensed pros because it requires exposed live wires. So first I take the neutral in this switch box and I connect the red alligator clip to it. Then I need to take off the constant hot wire in this switch and attach my black alligator clip to it. Now I can plug in the transmitter. And just like I did earlier, I can easily find the circuit at the breaker. And real quick before we go to option 5, hey guys, if you want to pick up any of these items, I'll link them in the description below. There's so many things that could go wrong. Are you feeling paranoid yet? Well, if you want it to be for sure, I suppose you could just turn off the main breaker. Where is it at though? Normally, that's the breaker closest to your meter. That should turn off the entire property. And look, all the lights in your home just turned off. Now do you feel safe to work on it? Well, you shouldn't. You're about to become worm food. You see, this property has more than 1 meter on it, and someone ran a circuit from that other panel and meter and ran it over here to this area that you're about to work on. You'd be surprised how many homes have more than 1 meter. Also, in multifamily dwellings like townhomes and apartments, there's many separate electrical services that are nearby, and who knows if someone ran a circuit from a different service area. And guys, if you found this video useful and it helped you out, the only way I'll ever know is if you hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, check out whether or not it's actually difficult to install a bidet toilet seat right here.